Well, the coach is once again taking you back, taking you back, taking you back. The blast from the past major league interviews from my archives of some of the forgotten interviews of the past. Classics, classics, oldies but goodies. We're going to start off today's show with Tyler Flowers, a gentle giant, as he shares with the coach some of his highs and lows in the major leagues. Tyler Flowers.
But, that's another challenge in this game is working your way up here. Not everybody can be a Mike Trout or Mike Leake and those guys that don't spend hardly any time in the minors. The majority of the guys got to spend your time and you got to earn it and put your dues in. And when you get here, I think you appreciate it just that much more.
At the next level, I've always preached to kids. I've coached, college, scouted. I've had 100,000 kids that I've seen. I always preach them the next level, especially past high school. It's mental. You got to master that mental part of it.
Yeah, and sometimes that takes time. It takes time, and not just even in high school. I can remember the mental challenge of day in, day out. You're practicing every day. It's a little different than when you're a kid. And then if you have success, all of a sudden they're pitching around you. You got to be mentally strong to be patient and get a pitch or do the right thing for your team to get on base. And that challenge continues into college. Obviously, competition is getting better. And then, when you get in professional ball, it gets even more. It's just the challenges multiply in all aspects of your life, not just baseball.
And I imagine it's a continuous emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, it sure is. And I think that's one of the big challenges is trying to stay level-headed. You can't get too high, you can't get too low. Just, trust in yourself and the abilities and the work you put in. And, ultimately what's supposed to come out will come out.
And, of course, in the big league, the ultimate challenge is that we can't hold you guys too low. We got to manage your time. As Dwayne Wise want to come over here and get in our show over here. See, he treat me like a stepchild, but we're still boys.
He's always picking on me.
Yeah, come on over to my fans. Come on, get in the cab and wave to my fans. See, he treat me bad. But just a couple quick questions. You made the leap to the big leagues. You're, of course, new era now. You're the catcher. What does that feel like for you?
So far, so good. The big thing that I just try and stay on top of is doing my job behind the plate. Any offense, that's great. But, as long as you take care of business behind the plate, give your pitchers a chance to win the game, keep them in the game, give your team a chance to win every ball game, then you're doing your job behind the plate. And, doing all the work and everything behind the plate and offensively, ultimately it'll work itself out. But you can't really worry about it. You just got to stay focused on each and every pitch. And, being a catcher, every pitch determines the fate of the game. So you got to be focused on every one of them.
And, we got to let Chicago, all the women in Chicago know that you've spoken for already.
I am. Yeah, I've spoken for, about 5 years in with that. Yeah. I got a little girl now, too, so.
He's a papa.
Yeah.
So when they're watching us and they tweeting, we got to tell them, got to go to Beckham before he get buried.
Calm down.
Coach, take you behind the scenes, introduce you to the catcher for Chicago White Sox. Forgot to put it on silence. You ain't tell me my tie crooked. Coach, take you behind the scenes with the new catcher for the Chicago White Sox as we're going to bring them back and continue this, but we got to let them get ready for the game. All right, appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm going to call you Ed Jordan.
Exactly what I need.
We're going to have to give him a bill for these cameos now.
That's right.
A blast from the past with the coach. And next up, a classic New York Yankee, Tony Pena. Enjoy the show.
And I ran across the man, Tony Pena. How we doing it?
We're doing great. We're doing great. Can be better. It's been a beautiful day. It's hot. The way I like it. What else can I ask?
My show reach a young audience, young high school baseball players, and you had a great major league career. What was the inspiration behind you and your career?
My inspiration was that I have a dream, and I said to myself that nobody will stop me until I reach my dream. and all the obstacles that was in the way, I beat every single one. You know, and this is why I have the real successful career.
See, they getting you now, all of walking?
Now everybody walking around. That's me, bam, we stop.
Yeah, see. But, I mean, you know, again, some of the guys that were mentors to you when you were playing in the big leagues.
It's no question, you know, I was around some of the best big league players that ever been around, like Willie Stoyers, Bill Robertson, Dave Parker, Bill Marlock, John Candelaria, Chuck Tanner, that was my manager at that time. He treated me like a son. And all the great players that I played with, that was great. That was great because I learned a lot from them. They taught me how to play the game, and they taught me well.
When you look at the game today, how much has it changed? You think the players are coming up too young today?
Well, I have to say maybe at that time when we started, we had to spend some time in the minor league, at least 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, right now, as I know that baseball has changed because everything is faster. See, we got computer. We learn the game through the computer. We learn so much through the computer, you know, and we didn't have to go to the field and put it in practice.
Yeah.
Because we already have seen that in computer. That meant that we are like a 2 or 3 steps away ahead of the game when we sign. When we sign, we had to learn in the field.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we didn't have no computer.
Yeah. It's every kid's dream to play Major League Baseball. What would you say to that aspiring young baseball player out there?
Don't let nobody stop your dream. Just make sure that you are ready every single day for the worst. Never be ready for the best. Just be ready for the worst, because you're going to have to be able to beat those obstacles. And whenever they come through, you have to stop it. It's like if you are in the room, and you are in the room with 5 giants, and we have 1 bullet, and that room is locked, you have to get out of there. It's me, that going to stop my dream? I said, no, nothing like that going to stop my dream. I'm going to wait that everybody fall asleep, and I'm going to get out, because I'm going to be faster than them. And this in my mind, and everybody, you guys, make sure that you understand that. Don't let nobody do something that you don't want to do. If you don't want to do anything like drugs, alcohol, and things like that, no, say no. Stay away from that. And you will see the type of future you will have.
Just these last 2 questions. You had a great Major League career. What was one of your most embarrassing moments in the big leagues?
Oh, my God. I have to say, we were playing day game in Philadelphia. And at that time, I was with the Pittsburgh Pirates. And we have like a 35, 45 minutes inning. Yeah. And I forgot how many outs. And when we made it, there was the second out, I took the ball and slammed the ball in the turf, and everybody scored. I remember Ivan de Jesus scored from first base because it was so hot. You know, that was the worst moment in my life.
And what's your most unforgettable moment?
I never going to forget my first day in the big league. Never going to forget my first All-Star game. Never going to forget my first All-Star, my first Gold Glove. But one moment going to stick with me forever, and that moment was like I hit a home run in the 13th inning in the playoff to win the game, and that was the moment that nobody going to take it away from me.
The coach taking youngsters behind the scene with the man Tony Pena.
All right, appreciate it.
And as we move forward, there was one gentleman that was always a class act with the coach, and that's third baseman and manager of the Chicago White Sox, Robin Ventura, as we share with you this blast from the past.
Welcome back to Talk to Me with the coach, Mike Mayden, as we're taking youngsters behind the scenes once again on what it's like being a Major League ball player. We got the manager here for the Chicago White Sox, Robin Ventura.
How you doing?
Doing great, and you?
I'm doing good.
Well, we haven't had you since last year, so we got to update the footage.
About time you showed up.
Well, you know, I got to ask a pretty obvious question. I mean, it's been a little bit disappointing where the season's been going right now. I mean, how emotional is that for you?
Well, I mean, it's always tough. You want, everybody to do well. You want your team doing well, and it's always been explained that you're only as happy as your least happy kid. So, it can be tough. And I think every day you go home, you're trying to find what's going to work for this guy or that guy. If they're not hitting well, if a guy's not pitching well, you want the right things to say. But, in the end, it's staying positive. We know these guys, have a track record and they've done well. For some of them, many years. They've done well. For some, it's a few years. But, you always want to give them confidence. You don't want to just bury on top of them. And there's been tough conversations and positive conversations. So, but, the major league level is a tough level, and you have to be able to come out and compete.
I mean, do you go home sometime ready to pull your hair out? One day is pitching.
Yeah, I'm a little lean. I'm a little lean in the alleys right now, pulling out hair. But it's tough. You sit there and you think about all your guys and how you can help them. You want them to understand, what they're going through, and we have a lot of coaches that have been through very similar things. But in the end, the only thing that really gets you out is focusing on today, the moment of what can you do to help us win today. And it's not about your average. It's not about what happened yesterday. It's what you can do today to help us win.
And, being a former player, does that help you relate to the players when that emotional roller coaster is going?
Yeah, I mean, I understand it. I get it. I've had rough stretches. I've played with guys that have had rough stretches, and this is like, it's nothing we haven't seen, but you don't want to go through it, and you want it to end as quickly as possible. And again, we're gonna kill it with the positive that we know it's in there.
So, I mean, again, taking our youngsters behind the scene, what do you say to the guys? I mean, you just say stick in there, do you pat them on the back and kick them in the butt? I mean,
well, there's always a pat on the back and kick in the butt at the same time, but, there's some guys that need a hug, and there's some guys that probably need a kick in the pants. And you I think from spring training on, you learn how each guy is and what gets them going and what they need at that time, and it's different. It's different for every guy.
And I've always maintained the cream of the crop rises after the All-Star break. Some of you guys haven't caught fire, but realistically, you want to stay in it and get hot going down the stretch.
Yeah, really with where we're at, we have to stay in it. And we've seen it before. We've been on, for a lot of these guys, you've been on a team that's been hot in the first half. You take 4 days off the break, you come back, and it's a totally different team. And, I think for a lot of these guys, they're looking to stay in it at that point and realize that when you come back, everybody, all their records and everything go out the window as far as how they're going to play for the second half. And you want us to be the team that gets hot in the second half.
Yeah. A lot of fans boo-hoo and cry, but they don't realize you're a major league team and you're playing a major league team, and it's just not that easy to go out there every day and win a game.
Well, I think the frustrations more come with the routine things that the mistakes that happen, and you do have some youth in some areas, but when it's a veteran guy that makes a mistake like that, it's hard to take, and it's hard for us to take. So you're trying to eliminate it, correct it, and get back out there and play.
Well, I'm going on record before we end this interview. I already got my World Series ticket purchased, so
Good. Okay. I hope we're the one. I hope we're the one you bought from.
I'm dropping the hit. Right. Coach of the road, taking youngsters behind the scenes with the man, Robin Ventura.
All right,
appreciate it.
www.blastfromthepast247.com.
Now I got to reach way, way back for this classic with my friend Tony Howe, as Tony and myself have a little fun on camera. A blast from the past with the coach, Michael E. Mayden. Classic MLB interviews from the past. Make sure you tune in and tell a friend to check out the show. They might enjoy it. The coach and Tony Howe.
You already know, right?
Oh, you with the Dodgers now?
Wait a minute, now read it though. Read what it says.
No, I ain't got my special assistant to the general. Oh, can I get this job? Big shot.
I'm moving around a little bit.
I hear you. You know it's all. And welcome back to Talk to Me with the coach, Michael E. Mayden. As I'm visiting with the big shot here, Tony Howe, who's a
Used to be a scout, you know, when all those little peons used to be scouts, but now he's the special assistant to the general manager. Tony, welcome to my show.
Thanks very much, Mike. It's a pleasure to be here, and I don't know about all the big shot stuff, but you know, I'm just trying to pay my dues and just be able to put some food on the table.
All part of the game. Well, for our youngsters out there watching this show, you're not a scout no more, you're big time, but give them a little insight of some of your responsibilities and duties when you were out there scouting.
Well, basically now, coming over the Dodgers after leaving, the Yankees and, of course, Milwaukee, basically my assignment now is a little bit more responsibilities of evaluating major league players, some minor league players, and basically being involved with making trades and making suggestions and so forth there. Of course, years ago, scouting back with the Cubs and things like that, which is where we hooked up, was more responsible for going out and evaluating high school and college kids, which are free agents, and then implement them in the draft, and then hopefully we can get them and develop them, send them to the system, and then hopefully one day they're up in the big leagues. So it's a joy to be able to go back and to the roots where I grew up in the city of Chicago, and then be able to put something back into it.
So for our youngsters out there that's watching this show, and we reach a young audience that have that ambitions of playing Major League Baseball, how do they go about getting discovered or seen by scouts if they're in a community where scouts don't come out?
Well, it's tough, and that's true enough, but, scouts are now starting to get back out like they used to, and, it's just the thing that a lot of times the scouts kind of been pushed away in a sense because a lot of the kids are in their city. Kind of went away and started playing basketball and football and things like that, and not realizing the opportunity that they have in baseball. So I would say going about it would be just basically go out there and practice, and then what they have is they look up. Each ball club has trial camps that they run right after the draft, and some runs try them before the draft. And they're pre-draft camps, and you can kind of look them up in the newspapers, whether it's Sun-Time Tribune and so forth, and look in the back of the paper in the transactions, and it's listed somewhere in there. If not, contact, I would say, a scout director for each major league club, and they all have secretaries, and they would give you dates of when trial camps would be ran in your area, and that would be an ideal spot to go to, because they basically all major league clubs hold trial camps, and that would be great to start from there. And like I said, whether the camp is in Chicago or maybe it's in a neutral area, maybe it's in Indiana and so forth if you live in the Midwest. So I would recommend that. Then at times, sometimes coaches has other contacts that they can contact major league scouts or associate scouts, and a lot of times they'll come in there and especially take a look at a kid, and then you have kids that kind of been blossom out and been looked at from scouts, and then all of a sudden you happen to be playing against that team, and next thing you know, you go out there and you show your stuff, and next thing you know, the scout leaves that player and come to you. So there's ways of getting back into it, and there's going to be a lot more involvement with the scouts coming into the areas.
And I know when I was scouting, I always tell the kids, scouting and coaching, I would always tell kids that a scout responsibility or his job is to go out and look for talent. So in his case, he want to know about that talent that he may be missing.
Exactly. Because that's what you find. You have the coaches out there, and the coaches they're sending these ball players. These kids come and try out and so forth, and then as well as you see the coaches that are playing against opposing teams, they see talent, and like you said, you contact the coach, and I did the same thing when I was scouting back in the area. You says, hey, is there a player out there that you have interest in, or that you like, or that you think that you would love to have at your ball club? And then all of a sudden the next time, do you think that this kid could play professional baseball? And from that, a lot of times you lead your names, and then you call it up and wind up, hey, it could be the next Cliff Floyd or someone.
Well, I see you with the Dodgers in executive role, so now when I'm in L.A., I could drop names and get some free tickets.
Well, let's see. We might be able to do something. I might be able to get you somewhere outside the left field side,
There we go. Big league can be like the rest of them. The coach get no respect.
I always look out for you, Coach. Yeah. I always take care of you.
I appreciate your time. Talk to me with the coach, Michael E. Mayden.
It's a pleasure, babe. Definitely.
No, I'm waiting at the Dodgers coming down.
The coach, Michael E. Mayden. A blast from the past as we take you back and share with you some of Coach Mayden's best interviews that includes past and present Major League Baseball players.
Some say he was one of the best pitching coaches in his day. The coach and Don Cooper a blast from the past.
Welcome back to Talk to Me with the coach, Michael E. Mayden, as we're on the road once again, bring you White Sox baseball. And we got the man behind the pitching staff here, Don Cooper. How we doing?
We're doing all right. We're doing all right. We're hanging in there and we're looking to climb.
All right, now this team has far exceeded the expectation for this year. The pitch has been pretty good for the most part all year long. Should we attribute that to you?
No, you should attribute that to the pitchers. We should always attribute that to the pitchers. But I'm always thankful that it's happening on my watch. A lot of good things are happening. Jake Peavy coming back is one. I'll just flash a few things that are going through my mind. Hector Santiago, Reed, Jones, Stewart, all rookies, by the way, those four guys, are doing very well, and they're in the process of becoming major league guys that we can count on now as well as in the future. As I mentioned a second ago, the changing of roles for Chris Sale, that seems to be going well. But you know what, with that being said, with those guys right there, it's May, and we've got a long way to go, and it's a process, and we're constantly staying on things, working on stuff, and to try to make them the best product that they can be, and give them the best chance of succeeding. We got these other guys. Philip Humber's already thrown a perfect game. That's a rarity, so that's nice. So far we've been holding our own, but I always say too that the biggest games and the biggest challenges lay ahead.
You may go down in history now as pitching coach for Burley with a perfect game, no-hitter, and then you got Hummer through the perfect game. I mean, there's some magic about Cooper.
Well, again, give that to the players, that's for sure. As far as I know, I've never thrown a pitch. But again, I mean, we're either qualified or lucky, and I'll take either one of those things. We're all lucky to have the job and be able to watch guys, enjoy guys from the best seat in the house and watch them go perform. It's all, they're prepared. I'll tell you that. They're prepared, they work hard, they're ready to go out there, and they pay the price for being as, for the success we're trying to get them. They're in there, when you work hard, it puts you in the best position to achieve the success that you're looking for individually as a player, and they're playing that. So, they deserve a lot of credit for that. Everybody sees the game that starts at 7:10. You don't see the stuff that goes on at 2 o'clock, and 2 o'clock till 7.
And what's some of those things that go on?
Well, it's the conditioning, it's the working, it's the conditioning program with the conditioning guy, Al Thomas, who's doing a tremendous job. We want our guys to go out there and throw 110 pitches or pitch 70, 80 times out of the bullpen. That's a workload. So being in the best shape you can be in certainly is a foundation to be able to do that. You got Herm Schneider, probably the best trainer in the business. So they're working with many, many quality people that put them in the best position to have the success that we're looking them to have.
And, I mean, how long have you been in this game, this major league?
Oh, I've been in professional ball since 1978, but I've been with the Chicago White Sox in the big league since 2002, and I've already kind of outlasted my shelf life, I think. But again, when I'm fortunate enough to keep the job for a decade, that means I've had a lot of pitchers to do the job for me in order to keep the job itself.
I've always told you the quickest way to the big leagues is pitching and catching. What is that, or your experience with young high school, college pitchers, what is the biggest transition for them coming across to the major league level?
From high school is a big transition, From anywhere in the minor leagues. The biggest jump you've got is anywhere in the minor leagues to the major league level. Listen, it's a long road. And let's face it, it is a dream of just most every kid to want to play in the big leagues, but this is a tough racket. There's more brain surgeons out there than major league players, But I'll guarantee you, most of those brain surgeons would want to be a major league player. But it's a tough racket, man. You've got to be physically certainly be good enough to do it, but you got to be mentally tough to take the knocks along the way. There's going to be many nights, many days that you don't maybe get the job done like you want, and only the strong survive. But when I say strong, I don't only mean physical. I mean mental. I mean, everybody on a major league field is physically gifted. They're the best players in their area when they grew up, every one of them. But the best guys are the guys that can maintain under the highest levels of pressure. The guys that can think on their feet. They can, and really focus on that moment. For a hitter, it's that pitch, that at bat. Certainly for the pitcher, it's that pitch. And the fielders certainly have to show up for every pitch that's thrown, because you might be called on. The ball may be hit to you. So the mental tough guys that can deal with maybe an 0 for 3 and come back the next night. There's a lot of failure in hitting. I mean, heck, the Hall of Fame is strewn with guys that made out 7 out of 10 times. So it's a tough challenge and a tough racket. Listen, I'm not sure. My son doesn't play baseball. He's got other interests in mind, but and you know what? I think he's made a good choice, because baseball is a hard thing to get to the big leagues, man. Because you're competing against not only many kids in the United States, but you're competing with many kids in Dominican Republic, in Japan, in Venezuela, in Mexico, in Puerto Rico, and there's 30 teams, and let's say there's 25 guys on every team. There's not that many major league players.
Coach, take your youngsters behind the scene with the man behind this pitcher staff, Don Cooper.
Thank you, my brother.
www.blastfromthepast247.com.
And concluding today's show with Alonda Alonso, a blast from the past with the coach. Taking you back in the day with classic Major League interviews of past and present Major League Baseball players.
Got the man, Yonder Alonso.
That's right.
I get it right?
You got it right.
All right, Coach, good at butchering names.
No, you did.
All right, so, every kid's dream of playing in the big leagues. You're in the big leagues. What's this big league experience like for you?
Incredible. Very humbling. Everything you work for since you were a little kid. All your dreams get to become reality every single day. Just an incredible opportunity to put on a big league uniform. An incredible opportunity to be with the best players in the game, the world. Just a lot of fun and a lot of work, but definitely it's all worth it.
I always tell my guys that in order for this dream to happen, you have to have opportunity.
Correct.
Where did opportunity come from?
Yeah, and the funny thing is you never know when the opportunity is going to knock on your door. So any chance or any whiff that you have of an opportunity coming at your hand and in your life, you got to take full advantage of it. Obviously, the better you are as an athlete, the better you are in the game, maybe the more chances you'll have. But no question, I think everybody and every kid should have an opportunity, and when they do have it, they got to run with it.
And how much true is it to that saying that you got grown men playing the kids' game?
I still feel like a kid, and I know we have a lot of
13.
youngsters. Yeah, I still feel like we got a lot of youngsters here too. So it's definitely a kid's game, but you all obviously understand what's at hand, and you gotta perform.
Okay. So still a kid's game, but you're grown man. What about the aches and pains that this body take on over us?
That's why you train. That's why you train, and I train, and I think a lot of us, speaking on behalf of a lot of guys, we train to wanting to play for 8 months. Because we see spring training as an opportunity, and we see obviously October as also an opportunity. So this is the reason I train. This is why we do this, and as long as your body and you're taking care of, you're being smart about what you eat, how you train, and things like that throughout the season, you should be fine.
And a lot of ice pack, hot tubs, that people
don't
sleep.
A lot of ice bath. Make sure you get your sleep, and then when you're ready to go, you're ready to go.
So, what is it like when you go out there and you face a major league pitcher? They say the toughest thing is hit big league pitcher.
Yeah, but then again, you got to have that confidence, because also the pitcher throwing over there knows I'm a big league hitter. So you got to take it with stride and understand that all the work you put in, all the sacrifices and the time that you put in the cage and the experience and all that stuff comes into hand. And once the game comes, you got to compete.
So let's take us back on that day when you signed that professional baseball contract. What was that experience like for you?
Oh man, what a day! I was able to be a first rounder and got to share with my family. I didn't have to watch a lot of the draft. I was picked pretty early, and I remember just the look on my family's face was something that we all strive for. So it's all the work. I'm telling you, all the work that you do, it's all worth it. All worth it.
Did you cry?
Oh yeah. Everybody cried. There was not one dry eye there.
What about your first major league home run?
First major league home run was here in Chicago against the Cubs against Zambrano, and I remember I took my time around those bases, man, because first time is always a fun time. So enjoyed it and still watch it pretty much once a week.
Did you get the game ball?
I did get it. They threw the ball back in the field, so I was lucky enough that I got the ball.
And
gave it to my dad.
And I'm sure he framed it.
Oh yeah.
So what is it like when you look up, see a uniform? Do you pinch yourself?
Oh, special, man. Special. Every day I wake up, I pinch myself. Just blessed to be here.
Coach Shaky Young is behind the scenes with the man.
Thank you.
All
Yes,
right,
sir.
appreciate
Yes,
it.
sir.
All right, take care.
And don't forget to tune into the show, invite a friend to catch the show, and visit us on our website. A Blast from the Past with the coach, Michael E. Mayden. Take you back. Adios.